Big Willie here. Um, you know, when I thought of just starting up this wee video page again, I thought, right, well, I'll talk about stuff. I could talk about my daily routines, and maybe if I go someplace like Forbidden Planet in the town, I'll film it and put it on there, and swimming or whatever. And I thought, just to use the camera and film where I go, because it's meant to be a blog and what you're doing every day and stuff like that. But I want to be a wee bit slightly different than that. I want to be, because I don't ever, because I can't believe that anybody wants to know exactly, how I get up in the mornings, or go to bed, or go to the swimming baths for half an hour, or do anything like that. So I'd like it to be a wee bit more like topical and stuff like that. So in the past, I've been talking about holidays and stuff, and I'm not big on holidays. And in my life, I've been fortunate enough to go to places I've dreamt of, really, to go, and they've always seemed a bit of a disappointment to me, because I think if you dream of a place and you've seen it on TV, you make it bigger than what you think it really is, and I think sometimes your anticipation, or your dream of a place, anything, it's like sex, you think it's fantastic and brilliant and everything, and then sometimes you can get disappointed. So it's just you build up in your head. I've been to New York, right? Now, here's the thing. Went to New York, and it was a place I always dreamt of going. It was in February, and when we landed at the airport, we went through some of the dingiest places you can imagine. Some factory sites and everything else, and it didn't look like Kansas to me. And it was a Valentine's gift, to me. Uh, and of course, somebody tried to haggle us, and oh, we'll take you to your hotel. Going, well, where is your hotel? Well, how, and it's the Wellington. And I says, oh, that's where we're going. Right. Because we were advised to always just use the yellow taxis, and I was excited to see the yellow taxis, but then when I saw the yellow taxis, it wasn't the yellow taxis that was famous from New York. It was the new slender ones. Anyway, so I get there, and the guy in the driver's seat, the taxi driver, because he's so used to different accents, he knew exactly where we were, who we were and where we came from. So we get there, and as I say, went through that. Then finally we got into New York, and it was like, wow. And then we hit Times Square, that we've seen constantly on TV before, and we get out, and there was a smoke came from the sewers, which is different than what we're used to, in Scotland. We don't get smoke or anything like that through there. And there seemed to be a different smell in the air. And then we get to the hotel, and there's like, only to describe it as zombies walking about the place in their jammies and just strutting about. The receptionists could hardly understand a word we were saying, and even though how slowly we were talking. And so finally we got, and as we got onto the lift kind of doors racketed closed like that, and I can remember seeing a man stop by like that, like a zombie, looking and then carry on. And I looked at the missus, and where are we? And then we get shown to this room that had about 10 locks on the thing, and the room basically consisted of this huge bed, right? Big bed, and it looked like it had like bubbles or whatnot in it, right? On the sheets, and one window and one sink hanging off the wall. And I felt like laughing. She felt different. She felt crying, I looked out the window and there's a big cross, lit up cross outside the window. And I looked at the door to my left and I thought, that's got to be the toilet. So I opened it, no, it was a cupboard. And I turned to the guy and I said, where's the toilets? And he took me down the long corridor to these toilets that looked like something out of Psycho. And I went, oh, we share that, do we? Oh, by this time she'd lost it all, and I'm finding the whole thing funny, because I think it was originally booked as an ensuite. And so as the guy left and we locked all the 20 locks, I went, listen, who else gets the chance to go to New York? Let's just wait. And so we spent most of the first day trying to find information, and she was on the phone with family and, ones that lived nearby and stuff like that. But ended up, we calmed ourselves down. We walked, well, we never went really, I think we walked mostly in New York, and we done one of the bus tours and stuff like that. Went on a horse carriageway thing around Central Park. But we've seen places like Radio City, which at the time didn't register with us, how famous that place was. And we went into Macy's, and it was the cops and the attitude of New York was just totally different. Because you had seen New York through programs like Friends. So you kind of imagine that the culture is similar, but it's not. Once we went into a diner in New York and we asked for, I don't know, French toast or something like that, and then as soon as I started putting ketchup on it, people looked at me as though I was doing something sinful, because it's like everything is, the culture is different, the eating habits are different, and it's just the whole attitude to you, and the cops' attitude to you is just totally bizarre. Went into this restaurant called Ruby Foo's, and I thought it's in Times Square, it's got to be the best Chinese place in the place. And we looked at the menu, and I could only recognise noodles. So we have Chinese restaurants in America that are totally different to the ones back home. And so when the dinner came, we got chopsticks. We were worried about the chopsticks. Don't know how to use chopsticks. Finally, we got a fork. The dinner came. We waited hours and hours and hours for this dinner. And then as soon as I put the fork in it, it crunched. And I took a bite, and that bite stayed with me for that whole trip. It was disgusting. And then when I put my fork in it again, the dinner lifted up with the fork. It was all covered in this ooze thing, and it was crunchy, and I went, oh no, we didn't pay for the meal, we just got a Coke. Even the chocolate's totally different now. So we ended up living in food that we do know, like McDonald's or KFC. At least those foods we know taste the same worldwide. Then we got to the Statue of Liberty, and we waited hours, and the films like Ghostbusters and everything else, and the head is only small enough for one person to go up and then come back down again. And I thought, well, that wasn't what it's like in the movies. So yeah, I mean, New York basically became a place that I've been. I don't need to go back again. So that was a New York trip. And in the next video, I'll talk to you about the Florida trip. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell a couple of the wee disaster stories in my life and whatnot, I think, for a wee while, and I'll go on to something else. So the next one's the Florida trip. Thanks for tuning in to Big Willie. If you've had any sort of holiday disasters or holidays that you feel like telling me, just let us know in the comments below. As I say, my ideal holiday really is staying in and having a house to myself. That's my holiday. I'd rather see holidays on the TV, or movies like Bond or something like that. See it from afar. Even concerts, I'd rather sit in the house rather than sit there and moan about sparklers getting lit up in front of my face, stuff like that. Okay, thanks for watching.